So you may have read some stories in the press over the last couple of weeks about properties downvaluing, and this is happening quite a lot at the moment as the market has been kind of running quite hot now for a few months. So I've got some advice here for you as a seller and also some advice for you as a buyer. First of all, if you're selling a property, you've probably had an estate agent round, and I'm kind of guessing the valuation might be perhaps even a little bit higher than you expected it to be. Great, and there are so many active buyers at the moment. I'm quite confident that you'll be getting some offers anytime soon. However, what's happening down the track is that if your potential buyer wants to take out a mortgage, the surveyor that they send out to value your property might not agree with the estate agent, and that's what we're finding is happening on a regular basis at the moment. So it could be that you end up not achieving quite the price that the estate agent has said that you would actually achieve in the end. So when you're doing your calculations about how much equity you're going to need to fulfill your onward purchase if you're going on to buy another property, it's important that you give yourself some wriggle room and not be too disappointed or offended if the valuer doesn't quite agree with the estate agent. The estate agent's job is to get the maximum price from the market, so in a way, the right to be bullish because it's very much a seller's market as we speak. However, just bear in mind that if your buyer needs a mortgage, you might not have quite as much equity as you thought you might have, and there may be a renegotiation that comes along a few weeks down the line. So if you're buying a property, how does this affect you? Well, you've agreed your asking price, you're happy to pay that money, you've looked at the market and you think you're paying the fair price for the property. However, from the bank's point of view, they look at it from the worst case scenario. What happens if you can't pay the mortgage? They've got to take possession of the property, they've got to sell it in a hurry to get their money back. And will they get that money back if the market starts to dip? So they will instruct an independent valuer to check that you're not paying too much for that property. So what's happening quite a lot, as I've said, is that these valuers aren't agreeing with the asking prices sometimes. However, this is an opportunity for a renegotiation to take place. So normally you would let the estate agent know that the bank's valuer has disagreed with the asking price that you've originally agreed with the seller, or between you, the seller, and the estate agent, and you would reduce your offer potentially to the amount that the valuer has said, because your mortgage is going to be based on that lower valuation. So it could be that you can't even proceed without that renegotiation taking place. And it's back to square one there in terms of renegotiation. So there might be some halfway ground to meet with the seller. But my advice to you would be, if the valuer does downvalue the property, it's because they've got a genuine concern that you might be paying too much for the property. That's not what you want to happen. So don't ignore the advice of the valuer. Thanks for watching. If you're in the market for mortgage advice, please drop me an email, malcolm@ukmoneyman.com, or give us a call, and please subscribe to our channel.